Hi, my name is Ashish and I'm here today to share a story with you. Something happened yesterday which I believe you guys should know. Many of the people I know own credit cards. This video is going to probably reach many more I do not know who are in possession with a number of credit cards. Now, I have had credit cards since 2010. I remember my first card was from a bank that does not exist anymore. There was a bank called ING Vysya. Now, ING was a financial institution from Holland. Vysya was from our country, and it was a collaboration. At that point of time, I used to draw my salaries from this bank, so I had one of their credit cards. 2 to 3 years later, that is in 2012 or I think the end of 2013, we started receiving messages from the bank which told us that ING and Vysya are separating. So the credit cards after a certain date would stop being functional. Now that was my only credit card, and by that time I had begun to understand the benefits of having credit cards and using those frequently as possible. So I was a bit sad about that. But then I received another message from the bank which told me that I could opt for a Citibank credit card, and I instantly went to the internet to find out about Citibank's credit cards. I realized from the information that I gathered that at that point of time, with the salary that I had and all the other financial aspects of my existence, I would not be able to afford a Citibank credit card. The yearly membership fee, etc., were so high that at that point of time it was impossible for me to apply and get one. Now this therefore turned out to be a golden opportunity. I said yes, and I received my Citibank credit card within 6 or 7 days. Obviously, my first ever credit card became non-functional from that announced date. Since then, since 2012 or 13, I have owned many credit cards because I transact a lot using those, from using those in petrol pumps to buying even the refills of my pens. I use my credit cards for everything. And of course, I don't think I need to tell you that I shop from Amazon and Flipkart as well all the time, whatever I need using my credit cards. So my credit cards are well used, which means that banks recognize the fact that I am a valuable customer. And what happens if you use your credit cards very frequently is that the data are shared with other banks and financial organizations, and people from those banks and organizations would keep calling you to offer you their credit cards. So it began with ING Vysya, which stopped functioning, and then I shifted to Citibank, and then I got a call and an offer for a card from HDFC Bank. I accepted that. Then there were 2 phone calls for 2 separate State Bank of India cards. I accepted those offers. There was a call from Standard Chartered. I accepted their card, and then IndusInd Bank as well. I accepted their cards too. Now, every single time a call comes, because I had realized way back in 2012 or 13 that because of the way I use my cards, I am a valued customer, or would be a valued customer for any bank. Every time a call comes with an offer of a credit card, my only question after listening to the world that they promise is whether the card would be free. Now, why I ask this question is because most of the cards that I hold, they carry with them a very heavy joining fee or annual maintenance fee. Now, if you have to own 5-6 credit cards, they better be free credit cards, because otherwise you'll not be able to afford them. So all the cards that I mentioned are free cards for me. I have checked with other people. Many who have those cards are right now paying huge amounts of money every year as annual maintenance fee. I don't have to do that. What happened a year ago, almost a year ago, is that I got a call from a bank called IndusInd Bank. Many of you might have heard about the bank. You might have seen billboards. You might have come across its advertisements in newspapers, TV, and the radio. Now, they called me about a year back and they offered me one of their cards, which is called the IndusInd Aura credit card. Again, I followed my own routine. I listened to everything that the sales representative had to say. I then asked her if it would be a free card. She said yes. I also said yes to the offer, and my first IndusInd credit card reached me within a week. And then I started using that card. It actually carried great offers with itself, so I used it on various platforms: Swiggy, Zomato, Uber, Ola, Flipkart, Amazon, hotel bookings, flight bookings. I used the IndusInd credit card a lot and I saved a lot of money. I believe the bank benefited from my usage as well. Everything was going on absolutely fine. Now let me give you an example of how much good banks care for their consumers. I remember a time when a brother of mine was traveling to Canada, to be more precise, to the University of British Columbia. He had to present a paper and he had to stay there for about 7-8 days. So some arrangements had to be made. Now he was paying some amount from his pocket to go to the University of British Columbia. Now, to pay that amount, he requested me to use one of my cards and he said that he would pay me in cash, etc. So I used my Citibank credit card. The transaction went through. It was obviously in Canadian dollars. The transaction went through. I received confirmation emails and messages. But when he reached there, that was about 2.5 months after I paid using my Citibank credit card, he was informed that he would have to pay there at the registration desk, and that was a huge amount, about 35,000 rupees. He was surprised because I had informed him that the transaction had been successfully completed. I had sent him screenshots of the SMS that I received, the email that had been sent to me. So he was a bit shocked. He called me from the registration desk and said, "Dada, you had paid and the transaction was covered, completed. Why are they asking money from me right now?" So I asked him to check with them whether they had actually not received the money and to give him some proof of that fact. They said that they would take some time to give him the proof, but said that they had not received the money. So he reported that to me and I called Citibank, and this is where the good part of this story begins. I called Citibank and I told them that this is what has happened. What is it that I should do? Now they said that in case of a fraudulent transaction, in case of a consumers thinking that there might have been a fraudulent activity regarding the usage of the card, the time limit for complaining to the bank is 30 days. And I was calling them after about 70-75 days, but they said that because I had never called them to lodge such a complaint and I have been using that card for 6-7 years, in my case they would make an exception and take the complaint, register it. They did, and the very next morning, in such a short period of time, an investigation definitely could not have been completed. Within the next 7 or 8 hours, I received a credit of 30,000 rupees on my credit card. Now, I immediately called them and I asked them what had happened, what the investigation revealed. And the person who received my call smiled and said that the investigation has not yet begun, sir. I was even more surprised. I said, then why do I have a credit of 30,000 rupees in my account? He said, because you are a good customer. You have been a very profitable, loyal customer. So there is absolutely no question of doubting you. What we have done is we have first given you the money back. Now we will investigate and see what has happened. One thing we definitely know, and that is it's not your fault. So the money is back in your account. You can now forget about this issue and let us deal with this. We'll talk to the University of British Columbia. We'll check the system, the technicalities of the system, and see if something happened which was technically wrong, or something happened on the university's part. But whatever it is, you don't need to worry about that. Your issue stands resolved as far as you are concerned. Your money is back in your account. I cannot tell you how happy I was. We are not talking about 300 rupees, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about 30,000 rupees. Even before they could launch their investigation, they simply refunded that amount because I had told them that this had happened. I did not present them with any proof, and I repeat, their investigation had not even begun. So this is the kind of customer care, customer concern that I have been used to. There are other stories as well with banks, but none of those are to the tune of 35,000 rupees. That's why I chose to talk about this story. Now, if you compare this with what happened with the IndusInd credit card, you will have the same emotion that I felt yesterday of absolute disgust. Why am I telling you this? Because after having used my first IndusInd credit card, the Aura credit card, for about 8 or 9 months, I received a call. A month and a half back, I received a call from IndusInd Bank, and they said that they are very happy with the way I was using my card, reaping benefits, and they would like me to upgrade to the better card, a better card. So I said, which card is it going to be? They said there is a card called Pinnacle, IndusInd Pinnacle credit card. They would like me to say yes for them to upgrade me to Pinnacle credit card. And they listed a number of benefits, a number of really, really awesome benefits that the Pinnacle credit card was going to bring to me. I listened to all of that. I was very impressed, and then, like I always do, I asked that representative, does this card carry any charge, any joining fee, any annual maintenance charge? Because if it does, then I'm happy with the cards that I have. I already have 6-7 credit cards. I don't need a card for which I need to pay a huge amount or any amount at all every year. Then it's a no. She said, no, it does carry a charge. It does carry an annual maintenance fee. It in fact carries a very hefty joining fee, but all that is waived for you. We've tracked your usage, not just with our card, but also with the other cards that you use, and we believe that it will be beneficial for both you and for us if we offer you the Pinnacle card free of cost. So I said yes, and the card reached me. Now, yesterday I received the first statement of this IndusInd Pinnacle credit card, and I have a software on my phone which detects all statements in my email inbox and notifies me about the last dates, and that helps me pay. Because see, if you use 5-6 credit cards very actively, it is impossible for you to keep track of the last dates of payments of all those cards. So I have a software which helps me in paying off all the money on time. And let me tell you what kind of an impact that this has on your financial existence. There is something called a credit score. Every individual has a credit score, and by every individual I mean, if you have a bank account, if you have a credit card, if you have loans, etc., you will have a credit score. My credit score is very, very high, according to one of the organizations that prepares these scores for all of us. If 900 is the highest, that's the full marks kind of, and I have a credit score of almost 870. That's very, very high. And a good credit score, or a credit score like this, tells financial organizations how particular I am about all my financial transactions. I never default on my EMIs. I always pay my credit card bills on time, and I'm very particular, honest, and transparent about my financial transactions. No institution or banking organization ever has had to suffer because of me. Nobody had to call me and tell me, please pay the amount, the date is over, and you are late, and there is a fine. Nothing like this has ever happened. So what I do is, when this software tells me that there is a bill and it needs to be paid, I don't even open the statement from my inbox, Gmail inbox. What I do is, I simply pay the amount. This is the kind of trust I have. This is the kind of faith I have in the banks whose cards I use and in the software. For a long period of time, apart from randomly checking one or two statements, I have not regularly checked the statements of each and every credit card to see if everything is all right. This software lets me know the amount and I simply pay the amount through the software. So it always works in a very beautiful, hassle-free manner. Now this software yesterday informed me that the new bill for the Pinnacle credit card is now there in the inbox, but it also informed me, this is the reason why I use the software, it also informed me that there are hidden charges in the statement. Now that alarmed me, because this software always does this. Even if there is ₹1 of a hidden charge, the software would tell me that there is a hidden charge of ₹1 in your statement. It could be maintenance or anything, any new tax that has been added. The software informs me. So it was then that I went back to my inbox and opened the credit card statement of my IndusInd Pinnacle credit card. Remember, this was the first ever statement. There was a 23,000 rupees bill. When I opened the statement, I found right at the bottom a 15,000 rupees joining fee and a GST of approximately 3,000 rupees. Now, I was shocked because this went completely against what was promised. It was supposed to be a free card. Either it was joining fee or annual maintenance fee, but it was a 15,000 rupees plus a GST, which was roughly a total of 18,000 rupees. Now I called their customer care immediately. I informed them and they said that they would take all action, but so far nothing has been done. Now my point is, my entire purpose of making this video is, it is quite possible for a person who's busy, who has 6-7 credit cards and a mechanism to pay the bill, a software which tells him or her that a bill needs to be paid and he or she pays it. It is quite possible that such a person would not bother checking statements. When you as a bank make a call to a customer and there is a 15-minute conversation which is recorded on your side, at least you say so, and you promise a world to the customer, and the customer specifically asks you if there is a charge, either a joining fee or an annual maintenance fee, you clearly on record say that there is no charge on the card. There usually is, but it's waived for you, sir. You are not supposed to do this. If I say this is a fraudulent act, I think it would be an understatement, because this is to the tune of 18,000 rupees. I could have paid the amount without noticing that small, that short sentence written in small fonts, that this bill carries some extra charges, hidden charges. I could have paid the entire amount and the bank would have enjoyed it without letting me know that it was all unfairly billed. Let me go back to what I told you at the beginning of this video. I have State Bank of India credit cards, I have a Citibank credit card, I have an HDFC Bank credit card, I have a Standard Chartered Bank credit card, and I have been holding cards, using those a lot for the last 10 years. This has never happened. I wanted to reach out to you guys and tell you that if you have an existing IndusInd Bank account, if you have a credit card, it's your choice. You can continue having that account, you can continue owning that card, but you should be very careful about the transactions, especially when you need to pay the bank any money, any bill or any charge or any fee. If you need to pay to the bank, you need to become sure of the fact that you actually need to pay. Because from my personal experience, I can tell you that there is a high chance that you will be charged, billed wrongly. And the fun part is, right at the bottom of the statement, where these two charges were added, do you know what was written? Annual maintenance fee for credit card number, first 4 digits, and then those cross marks and the last 4 digits. Shockingly, the first 4 digits and the last 4 digits did not match with those of my Pinnacle credit card, which means that I was being charged for a card I do not hold. When I said that to the customer care executive, he seemed to be pretty cool about it. Did not show any regrets. Did promise me action though, but wasn't really very apologetic about the fact that 18,000 rupees was being taken away from me, or at least an attempt had been made to take 18,000 rupees away from me for the maintenance of a card which does not belong to me. The rest of the statement has all the charges rightly placed, and those are charges for my credit card, the card that I hold. The first 4 digits, last 4 digits match, fine. But right at the bottom there is a separate row, and there are only 2 entries in that row. The first entry is annual maintenance charge for credit card number, and then the card number which is not mine, and just below that the last entry, GST on those 15,000 rupees. So this is a direct feedback on the services and the billing practices of IndusInd Bank. I want anybody watching this video to be very, very careful about your dealings with the bank. As I said, especially if the bank is asking for any money from you, or if you need or you have been told to pay any money to the bank, please doubly check if you really need to pay the money. I used the words fraudulent activity yesterday on the phone call, and the representative said, "We'll look into the matter, sir." It's as simple as that. I'm not saying that he or she is supposed to do something for me on the spot, but when I, in my mind, compared that with how the Citibank executive, or Citibank, because these executives represent their organizations, how he reacted when I told him that this has happened, and how steps were taken within 7 or 8 hours, even before they launched the investigation, I found the difference in the quality of service. I found how you perhaps should not be associated with all banks that offer you credit cards with great promises. So I hope this video will serve a purpose, will make you more alert, will make you more cautious about your financial dealings with certain banks, and will therefore help you from losing money without any reason. Thank you for staying with me. Stay safe. Goodbye.